Hey, Hawkeye fans, welcome back, where the Bowl is going to stay in Iowa City. We've got a huge win over Wisconsin that we're going to recap, an incredible interview with Deontae Craig. You don't want to miss that. And of course, the Hawkeyes are headed to UCLA this weekend, so we're going to preview that game. Welcome back to Talkin Hawks, presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed.
Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals.
It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com.
Because we believe banking is better through human connection.
Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hi, Matt.
Hey.
How's it going?
God is good.
That was a fun game
Yeah.
on Saturday.
I like the all blacks versus the all whites in uniforms.
You do? I don't know how I feel about black pants with the yellow stripe down the side. I just wish they were all black.
I got you on that.
You know?
You're more keen on the fashion stuff, but I do like the all black look.
Yeah, it does look really nice. But I mean, we've said this before. Nothing will ever beat the all black uniforms you guys wore 2015 versus Minnesota.
I'm still mad about the jerseys.
Yeah.
That was handled afterwards. But either way, the uniforms we wore were really cool.
Yeah.
And we played well, of course.
Yes. I actually was just watching a video somebody posted on Twitter before this game of you guys coming out of the locker room that game. And it was like, whoa, that is sweet. And like, there's like Desmond came out and he like kind of hit the thing. And then it was like, because nobody had seen those yet.
Mm-hmm.
I guess people that were there saw it like for warm-ups and things like that. But yeah, everybody came out and it just looked so cool.
Numbers were massive. Tiger Hawk was massive.
Yeah.
Those black pants, the stretchiest black pants I've ever worn. Like those were incredible. You could do anything you want in those. You could march,
wow,
sprint,
play football.
Some of them are a little more restricting. I don't think, people don't think about that.
It's because you wear your pants too low.
It's not. No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
All right. Yeah, atmosphere, top 10.
What you expect.
I know. Yeah. Night games at Kinnick. And then you have taken on Wisconsin. Just seemed like our team was a little chippy, you know?
Yeah.
I know you don't like that kind of stuff. You don't like that kind of stuff, but it's fun when you're there because it's kind of like hockey, you know? Like when they fight and like get into it, like the crowd, like everybody's like then therefore like way more into it because they're like backing their guys. And so like when our guys get a little bit chippy, like especially the student section where that's where I stand. And everybody was like super into that, you know.
I think there's a time for it. And I think there's no time. And then I also think there's a time not for it.
I don't know that you think there's ever actually a time for it. And that's okay.
I think there can be. It just depends on who it is, I think. It's more incumbent upon who it is.
Fair.
And when it happens in the sequence of the play.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like, all right, I just caught a deep ball. I'm the only one down there. It was you and me, and I bested you one-on-one. I can let you know about it because none of my boys are here to like pull me back or like go back or whatever. I can celebrate. I can just do a first down in front of your face. That's all it took. You know I caught it. That's it. I don't have to like look at you and be like, yeah, I told you. Like my arm pointing first down told you everything you need to know.
Okay.
Actions speak louder than words.
I guess. Well, yeah, it was super fun. Marshall Yonda was the honorary captain, which is great. You guys spent a lot of time together. We were talking beforehand and he was like, yeah, unfortunately we spent a lot of time together when we were both in the training room because he would come back and like lift and like,
he worked
treatment
out and everything. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So yeah, he said you're a very nice man.
Thanks.
I have a lot of respect for him.
Again, you're only saying that because we're on the air.
I literally told you the same story last night. So I don't even want to hear it. No. But he is actually one of the nicest people I think I've come across. Just a really like down to earth, genuine person. So that was really cool to have him back.
It's unfortunate though. You told me about the earpiece.
I was so sad. So for anybody that was at the game, the interview that I do with the honorary captain always happens first time out in the first quarter. And so when you're on the field in Kinnick, and sometimes when you're up in the stands, there's like this like serious echo that you can hear when you're down there.
Because there's a delay from the time you speak to when it comes out the speakers.
It's about a 2-second delay, which is actually a lot when you're talking. When you're talking like milliseconds, like that's something you can kind of get over. But a 2-second delay is like, hi, Matt.
You're hearing it.
Hi, Matt. Like, right. And so you hear yourself. And even like when you first start talking, it even like you question if your mic is working. So then you kind of like, unless you're used to it. And so anyway, we have these little like headphone things, like inner ear piece things. And it like connects to a thing. And then you turn the volume up so that what you're hearing is only what's going into the mic. So then that goes directly into your ears. So we're standing on the sideline and I'm like, hey, does it work? And he's like, yep, sounds good. Having this whole conversation like through the microphone, whatever. Then we go out there and he had it in his front pocket. And what I think happened was as he was walking, the volume got turned down. And I felt so bad. He's like, the delay was so bad. It was so hard for me to like talk when I was hearing myself because we're right by the South End Zone speakers. Mm-hmm. And so I felt terrible. And it was just one of those things where it was like, I want to buy you a cake or something to say I'm sorry, even though I had no control over it. But also I feel terrible because, because it is unbelievably difficult when you have that.
During a timeout, it's meant to give them recognition for coming back and being a part of it, right?
Yeah. And it was loud. Everyone was excited he was there. So anyway, just super grateful that he did it in the first place. And it was good to see him. So that, and I'm trying to think. There was really anything else. It started raining for a little bit there. But honestly, like if I would have been a little more prepared, like if I would have had a rain jacket and a hat, I think I would have enjoyed it. But I didn't prepare well, which I know you can't believe. But it didn't really rain that hard. And it wasn't that cold. So it was kind of like a really nice combination. Like night game, a little bit of rain.
Sure.
Just like added to the atmosphere a little bit. It was fun. So yeah, that's my story.
Great. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Which is what we had. Thank you for preparing meat and potatoes for the kids and I.
I did do that, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. And I trusted you to make them vegetables to go along with it, and you didn't.
Ran out of time.
Yeah, that's what it was. Totally.
You're playing with the kids and you look over, it's dinner time. Just going to warm up these potatoes. And the meat's already set because it's in the crock pot.
Happens to me. Never.
We'll be basically done. You'll be like, all right, guys, here are the vegetables.
Anyway. Okay. Beside the point.
All right.
So as we were getting ready to record, Jerry from Estella's, one of the owners of Estella's, came in and dropped off some food because he's so nice like that.
Thanks, Jerry.
And he was like, yeah, I can't wait to hear your analysis of the game. Like, you're super smart. Jerry, relax.
Ayo.
Okay.
Ayo.
Relax. He's not that smart.
Hey, no, dumb jock turned smart.
You are smart. Actually, Coach Woods told me that, before it would have been the first game, I think this season. He was like, yeah, I've been listening to your guys' podcast. Obviously, he was on it. And he's like, I actually didn't realize how smart Matt was. You hear that? Where'd you go?
You guys, we're not going to fit in the studio much longer.
No, if they only knew how dumb you are at most other things. I'm going to get in trouble for that. Somebody's going to comment.
You better.
I love you.
Guys, get my back. Say all the things.
You're a really good dad. I love you. Anyway, all right. So talk to me about it, Matt. You know what was so funny? The game started off so slow because there were so many penalties. What was happening? Hold on. Wait, I have a joke. I have a joke on this. I thought about it at the game, and then I was thinking about it on the way home. So they got a lot of false starts.
Yeah.
Some might say they were jumping around a little bit. What do you think?
Oh.
I know. I thought about it and I was like,
so
I can't.
I'm so bad, but I'm happy.
Yep.
I'm happy.
Okay. So talk to me about it. I'm done.
Yeah. How was one thing I was curious about? How was the energy with different QB1? Like, was there any different to start a game? I was kind of curious because I feel like a lot of people have been excited for what Sullivan's legs bring. Yeah. Obviously, he's kind of been trickled into the offense. I'm just kind of curious, was there anything atmosphere-wise?
100%.
You think so?
Total difference.
Even though we punted and whatnot a little bit slower. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
When they do the like starting lineups, everybody says their names, that kind of thing. People cheered very loud when he came on.
Interesting.
And then just when, like they said, we got the ball first, people freaked out. When the offense first stepped on the field, people are super amped. Anytime
it's new, it's people love it. But
anytime he ran the ball, super excited. Yeah, nothing against Cade. It was just what was happening in the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Marco Linez was a late scratch. So
he had a not a cast, but like what's the shoot?
Like an ace wrap kind of thing?
Ace wrap. And then a bunch of padding on his left hand.
Throwing hand, that's good at least.
Correct. I don't know. Maybe something broke. I have no idea.
Right.
But it looked like there was a lot underneath the ace bandage. It wasn't just like we'll just wrap it a little bit. It was like puffy and all that. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say, it was basically Brendan Sullivan and then a walk-on that really hasn't taken reps until, I think he took maybe 3 or 4 at Kids Day. 3 or 4 reps, not drives, reps. Like it was.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so Sullivan played the entire game, which is great. I thought he looked pretty good. A little bit behind on some of the crossing routes. Like one of the things he's really good with his legs, obviously. But he was a little bit behind on some of them. I think he missed Bowie on one. And then another one Seth Anderson could have come up with. It was still a little bit behind him, but I still think Seth could have come down with it. But outside of that, throwing in rhythm was really good. Running the ball was really good. And his ability to run the ball helps Caleb Johnson, especially from shotgun. Now, I like the fact that we still get under center because I do think I like running the ball. I like the way that kind of passes time out from under center. But we're also utilizing some of the stuff we already do to create different looks. And what I mean by that is Jacob Gill running across the field. Like he does that a lot. And we use that into what we got prepared for, which is the modern day triple option. So the old school triple option would be like Army, Navy. They still do it, but like Army, Navy, Air Force, I guess Air Force, not as much, but like Army, Navy are known as like their triple option teams. So essentially what happens is you've got 3 options and you're reading 2 guys. So when the ball's snapped, the modern day triple option will tell you got a bubble on the outside. So it's like a read option to start. So Sullivan, let's say Caleb Johnson's on his right. So it's going to be a cross read or a cross ride because Caleb Johnson's going to go to his left. He's going to read the defensive end on the right. So they're not going to block him. He's going to snap it and look at that guy. If the guy crashes, and I talked about this before, if he crashes down to guard or to tackle Caleb Johnson, Brendan Sullivan pulls it and then he runs. So he's got 2 options. He can either give it to Caleb Johnson or he can run. Well, now the modern day triple option, in the old school, the Army quarterback would snap it, look there, do the read option. If he crashed, then the wing back, essentially from the backside, would trail the quarterback. And so he'd pull it. And now he'd either pitch to the running back on a speed option because the linebacker flowing would either have to play the running back and say, okay, the quarterback's going to run, or he'd play the quarterback and the quarterback would pitch it out to the running back that's trailing behind him. So the 3 option could either be the quarterback handing it off to the dive, running out, pitching to the running back, or keeping it himself. Those are the 3 options. Modern day triple option is read option here. I'm going to read the defensive end on a shotgun, and then I'm going to run, but I've got a bubble out to the right. So now this linebacker has to either go play the bubble and expect the quarterback to run or crash on the quarterback. And now I'm going to throw the bubble. But what we did was we brought the guys in motion, and most of them were tight ends, brought them in motion, and then they ran just a little quick out. So again, Gill all the time is running back and forth, back and forth. Well, now he can run across, and now he's in essence, the 3rd option because Sullivan can get it and throw it. Now, he didn't throw it because that linebacker has to respect that he can throw it. So a lot of times he widened, and then Sullivan's good enough with his legs to run it. I think we ran it 4 or 5 different times, but like that's something that we have not seen in an Iowa offense. And it's just a little wrinkle that makes the defense have to respect one more thing. You know, it's the tough part, especially when it comes to football and when it comes to most things, is tradition versus innovation. How much tradition are you going to be in of running a pro style offense, which is a more traditional offense, versus the innovation of we're going to air it out, we're going to run options, we're going to put these guys in positions to fail so that way we can succeed, right? Because I'm going to read what he does and all this stuff. How do you mesh that? Well, I think Tim Lester's done a great job of doing that thus far. And so being able to put in something that's the modern day triple option, it's not something that we've seen. Like I saw this tweet that was like, if you'd have told me that Iowa was going to have a running quarterback and Wisconsin's going to run an RPO game, I wouldn't have believed you. Like think 5 years ago, like, no, that's 2 teams with fullbacks and 3 tight ends and we're going to run it, right?
And the score is going to be like 10-3 6.
Yes. Which was 2015 AO. But like that kind of game. And it's just not that way right now, which is really cool to see the mesh of both. So shout out to those guys being able to perform that kind of thing. And then the offensive line being able to pick up on it right away too. Caleb Johnson continues to be dominant. I think he's pretty close already to breaking Sean Green's record for most touchdowns in a season.
Yeah, they've been talking about Heisman.
I think he's off by like 2 or 3. Like he's got to be up there. And now Brendan Sullivan's legs make him that much more viable because you can't just crash. You have to respect Sullivan being able to run it. And he scored a couple times off of it too. And now you add out the little flat thing. It's like, okay, well now I got to do 2 reads. You have to have a quarterback that can do it. 2 reads, but you can almost always make somebody wrong. So offense looked really good.
In a nutshell. And put up, what was the final score?
They put up 42.
42.
Yep.
I was say 40. 42.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was very different to watch. Like you said, having a running quarterback. And just a kind of a nice little breath of fresh air. Just felt nice to have that little extra, as you would say, wrinkle.
Well, it's interesting because like I'm not against a pocket quarterback. I'm really not. But now this is as a fan's perspective. Would you say CJ was a pocket quarterback?
No. I think
he wasn't a running quarterback.
He did well in the pocket, but he also had the
ability to do so.
Somehow.
But you're not going to run. Yes, I agree. I still don't know how people missed him. It's not like he's moving that fast.
No, it was the way his body wasn't like he didn't like, oh, I'm going to juke you out. It was like maybe
half his body would. Yes.
He was like kind of like a limp noodle in a way. You're saying this out of love.
Yes, of course. Love you, Siege. But like, you're not going to run the read option with CJ, but he could break loose and do stuff. You know, I think that there's something to being that type of athletic while still being in a pro style pocket type offense. And so I think that there's going to be a little meld here of Brendan Sullivan's not necessarily a 3-step drop, get it out. Although he did hit Ortworth on a great seam ball.
I get so excited anytime Zach gets a catch.
Same.
Just because when he came in, he only had 1 and he only had 1 last year. And we're like, you know what? You can get more than 1 this year.
Yes,
and when
he's
I
at
saw
like 5. It's great.
It's very rare if on the sideline or in the tunnel, I like let out a yeah or anything like that, right? Like I get excited, but I just, whatever. I was like, go Zach!
Yes,
so lit.
I agree. But like that was thrown on rhythm. It was a 3-step, boom, balls out. Like he has that capability. I'm just curious to see how much they continue to mold the offense to what he can do.
Mm-hmm. Exciting. Defense looked great.
Jay Higgins looked great.
Can we talk about Nick Jackson? Can we just start there? That was one of the funniest interceptions ever.
I feel bad for Brian.
Brian looked crazy. I mean, that's a weird position to be in.
Like how many interceptions start because your teammate kicked the ball off your face?
Never. I don't think there's ever one. He actually, Nick posted it on his Instagram story and tagged Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
Like as like yeah, look at me. It just like cracked me up.
What a dork.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, that was super cool. And I like went back and rewatched it like on my phone, and I had to rewind it like 10 times. So I was like, what just happened? Like the ball went this way and then it was that way.
He tipped it to himself and then tipped it to Brian. Well, kicked it at Brian and then Brian tipped it back to Nick.
The slow motion of Brian looked hysterical.
Boom. Yes. 100%.
Yes. In his defense, that is unbelievably unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so he looked great. It was nice to see that pick. Deshaun Lee gets his first pick. I think he's starting to like become cornerback 2.
Oh,
CB2.
he was so excited. He was like lit in the beginning of the game. Like talk about a guy that had energy. He came out ready to play. And
he played really well.
He did play really well.
He got beat on a double move, just like he did against Troy. However, he was able to stay on top enough and then make a play. So one of the most difficult parts about DB is you have to look back and find the ball. Well, the thing is, like, sometimes you can just go for the ball and miss, and then that's it. But he played through the receiver's arm. So the receiver had the ball, and then you can see it. It's almost like he's trying to start a lawnmower with how hard and vicious he played through the receiver's hands to make sure it wasn't a catch.
This was right at the beginning of the game.
Right at the beginning of the game.
So I was standing next to Yonda, and he was like, that was an unbelievable play. He's like, I really thought that was a touchdown. Like, we were both just like, did that that was amazing. And that's
really just
cool.
finishing a play, right? Yeah. And I think we're waiting for CB2 to do that. Like we see Jamari, we know that he's kind of locked down on most of his stuff. He gave up the 1 touchdown, but most of the time, like people don't throw at Jamari, so they're gonna throw at Deshaun Lee. And that was great, that play. And then obviously in the zone coverage, being able to read it, pick it off and go. And he's pretty like a good open field tackler. There's not many times where you see Deshaun Lee just whiff. For the most part, it's not like devastating hits, but it's a good solid hit to get the guy down. So I really like what I'm seeing out of Deshaun Lee.
Cool.
Who I also really like to watch? Sorry. Max Llewellyn.
Okay.
He is like, I've heard the term lightning in a bottle.
Okay.
I've heard that term. I think he's just like spazzy and chaotic, but it's like poetic.
Okay.
Yeah. Stay with me here because it's so violent and it looks chaotic, but there's a definite purpose to it. Like his 1 sack. So he's like running up off the field. It looks like he's just chopping his arms, but really he sticks his left foot in the ground, right foot in the ground, smashes down the O-line's arms and then spins around him and then makes the play. But when you watch it live, it looks unbelievably spazzy. But like there's a definite technique to the way that he gets the O-lineman's arms down so he can't re-stab and then spin around him so he can't get to him in time. So D-line is all about like, can you smack down the offensive lineman's arm so he can't stab you and keep you at length? So he stabs, plants, spins, makes the play. But it looks chaotic and it's great.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
You got very excited about that.
Yeah, I meant to bring him up.
Okay. And then Reese had a couple of really good punts.
Yes. Again,
it's the best. It's the best when he booms one and it's like, shoo, like high in the air and everyone goes, oh, like the whole stadium.
But like there's a real beauty to it turning over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Everyone was pretty pumped about that.
I saw this one that said, on the one that he put at the 5 and it was like, oh, Reese really starting to feel his 9-iron, puts it 5 feet from the pin yet again.
That's dumb. I thought 9-iron you meant because of his jersey.
Maybe it's a pun.
See? Maybe I'm on it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Can you give me your JB Roofing unsung hero of the game? What do you got?
I want to talk about one more thing. Sorry. Drew Stevens.
My goodness. Oh, yeah.
It's bad that he missed a 56-yarder. I get that. But how high he missed it makes me think that he could hit one from 70. We'll figure out the accuracy.
The offense is like, get us 10. Drew. It's like, offense, get me 10 yards.
He might have a shot. Like, he really might have a shot from 70.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Can you give me your JB Roofing unsung hero of the game, Matt?
Sure. The unsung hero brought to you by JB Roofing. It's not a player this week.
Okay.
It's Tim Lester.
All right.
I love how every time they pan to him, he's like wiping off his hands like, yep.
Oh, they did it again.
Yeah, they did it again and he wiped his hands off. But like, he's doing some really good things. You showed me the stats. I mean, it's not even comparable to what last year's were or the last couple of years on what the offense is doing. Granted, they have Caleb Johnson. They got some pieces that are veteran types, but bringing in Brendan Sullivan, who hasn't been here for very long, being able to come up with a play that's like, okay, we're not going to install an entirely new offense with a new quarterback, but we're going to bring in this modern day triple option just to have it. And then to run it 5 or 6 times really, really well. And then to score off of it, even Brendan Sullivan scored on one. Like there's some really, really cool things that we're doing offensively. Like the quarterback sneak where Hayden Large goes in motion and then stops behind Brendan so we could push him in. Like you don't know about that kind of stuff, but it's enough of a wrinkle in the run game, which people don't think you can get as creative with pulling and doing this and all that. But we are. It's really cool to see. Pass game will continue to grow, I think, as our receivers kind of settle into everything. But the fact that our run game is being really cool, I really like that. So unsung hero brought to you by JB Roofing, Tim Lester.
Very good. Unexpected one this week.
Unexpected.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into our interview with Deontay Craig. He has got a fantastic story and can't wait for you guys to listen to it. So we'll be right back with that. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing and Construction, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners.
They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing and Construction, the small town roofer you can trust. Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Well, yeah, I mean, they've been servicing vehicles in the corridor for like 40 years.
Right, but did you really know that before someone had to tell you?
No.
Check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly. To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
All right, well, Talkin Hawks fans, today in the studio we have Deontay Craig. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Well, I have to apologize right off the bat because I was like requesting that you be on the show. And I'm literally on Instagram and his name is like displayed up at the top and I spelled it wrong probably 2 or 3 times as I'm like going back and forth.
Did you call her out on it?
He did.
So actually the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, honest mistake. Because like, I'll give you credit. You spelled it wrong, but it's like a close like, spell wrong. You know what I mean? Enough. Like a lot of people, when they spell my name, it's like Dionte or like I've had a couple people spell my name like detonate. And I'm like, that's the one that really throws me. But yeah. I was like, okay, how do I say this? I don't want to sound rude, but like I also want to make sure it's spelled right because like there's been times where I haven't said anything and it's just been like repeatedly spelled wrong. Right. So I was like, you know, they're nice people. I'm nice. So
yeah, not my best first showing. So sorry about that. I went to school with a kid that was spelled without the A. Mm-hmm. So it's Deontae. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could have done that from memory, but
I forgot the A twice. Yeah. So anyway,
it was autocorrect.
We moved fast. That's all good. That's all good.
Is that good to say?
Yeah, we're glad you're here though.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Super cool.
We just had Brian Allen in, and I'm pretty sure was he talking about Deontay with like playing games and all that kind of stuff?
Well, more so what he talked about is that he's obsessed with Crocs.
Oh yeah.
And I saw we got some
Batman.
Say we got Batman today.
Batman, yes.
Batman.
So how many pairs of Crocs do you have?
I have.
That's a bad start.
Yeah, it's a lot. I have like 22 or 23 pairs, and that's an honest answer.
Damn.
But I think the only reason I have so many, like I like to be creative. I like to think outside the box.
Okay.
And Crocs comes out with a lot of different types of collabs that I really like. So, and these are Batmans. You got SpongeBob, Patrick, Scooby-Doo. I have Minions, Venom, you know, every single movie Venom.
So far, Scooby-Doo's my favorite that you said.
Yeah, I got, I'm running out.
When we were talking to Brian.
Yeah, I got so many. Stitch, from Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Yep.
Pikachu.
Nice.
Yeah, the list could keep going. But you can tell I got a decent collection going.
Yeah. For what they are, I will say, they're way more expensive than I thought they would be. They're just like slide-on little plastic rubber thing. Like,
yeah,
I didn't think they would be that expensive.
Yeah, they. The first thing when I come into the facility with a new pair, people are like, "Oh, well, how much you spend on these?" But I think although they're like, I don't know, collab pairs, sometimes I get good deals on them. Just depends on what website I get them from.
Nice.
You don't have NIL deal yet?
I don't.
Hey, Crocs.
I know. Hey, if you see this, is that a camera over there? If you see this, I'm ready. Just, I don't even care. You don't have to pay me. Like, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm just waiting.
That's incredible. Have you tried the, we talk about these. Oh, you have them on. The canes like these?
I have not, but my roommate, Jay Higgins, he has tried to put me onto them before, but I just, you know, I go with what I like.
So Jay is actually a good reason as to why I got these, because we had Cooper on last year. If you haven't checked out those episodes, do it. We had Cooper on last year. We had Jay on back-to-back canes, and they wore like were they wearing like the nice Hawkeye ones?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Laura's like, well, if they're recovery shoes, I'll buy you some. So
I have seen those. I do. I would like to get a pair of those one day, but
You gotta save up.
yeah, I gotta make the decision that I know I'm gonna like. And I know if I get a pair of Crocs, I'm gonna like them.
Yeah.
So,
And they don't have any cool
yes.
collabs.
Pringles, I have those. Sorry, I just got another wave of Pringles. I have those. It's got like, the Pringles mustache.
Yeah.
That's the strap on those. And then
That sounds sweet.
the gibbet is like an actual Pringles can, like not as big, but you get
Hold
the
on,
idea.
what'd you call it?
Gibbets.
What's a
Those are the
gibbet?
things that stick.
That's
out.
Yeah,
the-
they call them charms or like pieces, but the actual name for the things you put in the holes on Crocs are gibbets.
We're getting schooled today. I love it. I love it. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you have a girlfriend. How does she feel about your Crocs? Is she cool with it?
She's feeding into the addiction a
Is she?
little bit. Just reminded me, I have Baby Yoda. So
Oh.
that was
Those are
the
very
first
cool.
pair that I got her because she saw me with those and she really liked the Baby Yoda gibbet.
Gotcha.
So I got her a pair of those. Sad story, she actually lost the Baby Yoda gibbet that she
Oh,
got them for.
man.
So that's kind of heartbreaking.
That's
But,
tough.
so far she's got those. She's got SpongeBob and Patrick. So trying to get her collection to get as big as mine, but I doubt it.
I gotta be honest, when somebody says they've got shoe game, Crocs aren't the first thing that comes to mind.
I mean, I can do both. When I need to go somewhere that requires me not to wear Crocs, like
I mean, you just flip them into sport mode and you'd be all right.
yeah, I can do whatever. But I got a decent amount of options at home. So
That makes sense.
Love it.
We don't usually start our podcast that way, but they just stuck out as you walked in. But we do like to start it off just by going all the way back,
Mhm.
like to when you were a kid and where you're from. So where are you from?
I'm originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
Mom and dad and sister grew up there. My dad, he's originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. In high school, he played every sport: basketball, football, track, baseball, you name it, he did it. After high school, him and his brothers went to the military. He was there, I want to say like 10, 15 years maybe.
My goodness.
Before he moved to Fort Wayne, started his career, and he's a truck driver. So he started working at FedEx, and then he's since, went to some different places since then. And mom, she is the opposite. She never played sports growing up. She's always been kind of interested in the medical field and stuff. So she's from Beloit, Wisconsin. She moved up here when my grandma got stationed at GM, the old General Motors plants up here. And it's funny, my dad actually met my mom because he messed his shoulder up at work and he got sent to her like physical therapy place. So she was a receptionist working there. And I always get mixed stories from both of them of who actually hit on who first. But,
Of course.
it worked out, obviously. So they've been together a couple years before I was born. So maybe like 20, 25 years, so
Oh, my
like
goodness.
that. So they're my biggest supporters, best people in my life. Then you got my younger sister. Her name's Deontae Craig. She is 19. She's a sophomore at St. Francis. It's an NAIA school in Fort Wayne. She's actually on the basketball team, so she's her second year there. She's really starting to love it, and I'm excited to see her keep going and keep growing.
Nice. All right. So she's how much younger than you said?
She's 19, so I'm 22. She's 3
Okay,
years younger.
3 years
I'm
younger.
22 for 5 more days, and then we're 23.
Well, happy early birthday, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Are you guys pretty close, you and your sister?
Yeah, that's my rock. Whenever I'm like struggling with anything, I call her, talk to her. Whenever she's sad, like we got that kind of sibling feeling. Like if she needs something, like I know, okay, let me call her today. Even if it's just like 30 seconds, like, hey, love you, like have a good day. It's just super simple, super easy. With her schedule being at what it is now, playing a sport, it's hard for her to make it to my games, but like she always sends me videos, let me know she's watching, and whenever I can catch one of her games, I do the same thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What sports did you play growing up?
I was football, basketball. When I was little, I played t-ball. Wanted to keep pursuing that, but then they took away the T, and I quickly realized it wasn't for me. 8th grade year of middle school, I ran track. I won the city championship in the shot put.
Dang.
And then I made it to the second heat for the 200, but it was
That's range right there.
it was tough. But I was still proud of myself. I told myself I wanted to run track at least 1 year in middle school just to see what it was like. And I had fun, made a lot of new friends because that's obviously a different type of demographic on the track compared to football and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely fun. I convinced all my buddies to come out and do it with me. So it was good. But I tried to be involved in everything because I felt like everything helped with every other sport that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
We had Jay on last year, and you guys met each other through AAU, right?
Yeah.
Through the basketball side.
Yeah.
Were you trying really hard to do the basketball thing, or was football kind of, as you got older, you said, those are the two you played. Which one did you kind of want to push more?
Yeah, my earliest memories of sports was basketball because my dad, I don't want to say he was a renowned figure in Fort Wayne, but the best Fort Wayne teams and leagues, he was either coaching them or on them. So
Dang.
we had over 30, over 40 league when I was a kid that my dad would take me to the games and he'd be playing in. And he had his best buddy, Greg, rest in peace to him. He coached with him and he used to coach him when he was in his 30s still, but he was still trying to give him some lessons and some life advice. So there's pictures that my dad was showing me. My grandma has them all at home still. Me 2 or 3 years old in a big jersey down to my ankles, headband on, sitting on the bench for 6th, 7th graders at the time. So yeah, basketball was my first love. Coming up through middle school, high school, I was trying to get basketball offers as hard as I could. But I tell people all the time, I'm just blessed and fortunate that, like I said, my mom and dad never let me just sit in the house. They were all right, when basketball's not on, you're going to do something. And that's when football came into play. And
so it was just something you did?
Yeah. I feel like I was always more naturally good at football because most of my time, out of season training and everything went towards basketball. I was never waking up at 5, 6 a.m. to go lift or hit the field to do drills. I was at the gym, running a treadmill, getting up shots. And then I think at my first offer the summer before my junior year of high school, and I was still holding out hope, okay, I can be one of those guys that gets both, you know what I mean? Because the circuit we played on, we Under Armour circuit. We're playing in front of Duke, Kentucky, Indiana, Purdue,
Sure.
all the big time schools, wherever. And I'm thinking, okay, I can get one offer, and all it takes is one. If you get one, more will start rolling in. But junior year starts. I get Tennessee after the first game for football. Then I play another game, get Indiana, and then bam, 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 they just start rolling in, and I'm yeah, it might be time to just focus on one. But it wasn't to the point where I was I'm just gonna give up on basketball because I still felt like I owed my teammates and myself to live out, the dream that I wanted. But yeah, it wasn't okay, I'm going to pick one and focus on that. I did both to my fullest ability. And, it just came time where I had to let one go.
The fact that the afterthought is what got you here is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I tell people all the time, and it's one thing I like about Iowa. They want multi-sport athletes, and they encourage it. Through my recruiting process, Coach Bell and Coach Ferentz were at 2 or 3 of my basketball games. I got my Iowa offer. Coach Bell came to an out of season basketball pickup run. You know what I mean? So it was it was cool because I could showcase that I wasn't just a football player, but also that I was a competitor and I was ready to compete whenever, however was needed.
I feel like that's part of the Iowa way. Coach Morgan, who recruited me, he came to more of my track meets than he did my football games. I don't even know if they ever came to one of my football games. But I remember almost every track meet, Coach Morgan was there, watching me jump or watching me sprint. And I just think they want that competitive nature. And they'll work on the rest, but you gotta really want it to be at Iowa.
Right, yeah. Coach Bell's favorite thing to talk about is never a football game he's recruiting or basketball, baseball, or anything. His favorite thing to talk about is watching recruits at Drake relays and how they run, jump, throw a shot put, whatever it might be. Like every time that comes up, I've never seen him get more excited.
That's crazy.
It's cool.
So what made you pick Iowa? Because that's a long list of teams, and you only listed like 3 or 4. But compared to a lot of guys, especially coming to like a developmental program, usually like this guy is like, well, Iowa was my only offer. Like, and so it just makes sense.
Say it like that, but
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're getting recruited, you find out a lot about yourself for one, and then you find out a lot about other people for 2. And I think, you know, you hear a lot of promises. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors during recruiting. And one thing that really stood out to me about Iowa was that from day one, Coach Bell was like, look, we're not offering you until we meet you in person and get a chance to meet your family in person. So I'm like, okay, this is like, I got my offer in May of 2019. And this was like October, November of 2018. So this was a long process. And I'm like, all right, like it's cool. And, you know, every couple of weeks you get a call, Coach Ferentz, like, hey, how you doing? Just quick check-in. Coach Bell, let me know how he's doing. Check in with me, see what my thought process is going to be. And it's crazy because come time for like my official visit, I didn't even really want to take it. Like I was, Jay was coming up here for his. And at the time, my only impression of Iowa outside of the conversations that I had with KB and KF was the 2015 Rose Bowl game against Stanford. Like that's the only time I had. I'm sorry, but that's the only time I had ever heard of them. So
that's tough. I'm
like, I don't know. Like I don't know if I want to like official visits. It's not what it is now. Like you only got a set number. So I'm like, well, I don't know. We'll see. So talk Coach Bell. He convinced me. All right, come on the visit. As soon as I get here, I'm stuck on the plane because it's thunder and lightning out. Finally get into the car to campus and everything. I'm like 2 hours behind everybody else because we're stuck on the interstate in traffic. The weather's terrible. So in the car ride, I'm thinking like, there's no way. I told myself I shouldn't have came. Like I should have trusted my gut. But ultimately ended up getting here. I was really close with Tyrone Tracy back when he was here. He also was in the same like grassroots AAU program. Coming up with me and Jay. He was my host that weekend, and you know we had a really good time and got to actually meet guys that I was going to be around, hear their stories and everything. And literally leaving the visit, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to commit to this. But I was like, that's not me. I don't make spur of the moment decisions like that. Like I had the text message to Coach Bell. I'm like, hey, can they get me a graphic ready? Like I'm announce it as soon as I can. And then the morning it came time to do it, I texted him and I was like, Coach, I spoke too soon. But, you know, he stayed consistent with me. He kept it honest. He was like, look, we have your spot, but, you know, we got jobs too and we got to fill spots too. So it took me a couple more months to figure it out. But, you know, long conversations with my high school coach and mom and dad, and, you know, I ended up where I was supposed to.
So you're not the type to make like a spur of the moment decision, kind of like to be a little more calculated.
Yeah, things. I mean, my mom and dad always taught me like, this is a decision you got to live with. And like, I mean, I feel like they raised me really, really well. And like where I don't know if we'll get into this or not, but I went to a military school like for high school. So I was at school by myself at 14 years old, which isn't something that a lot of kids do. You know what I mean? So just that experience, it really taught me like there's times where you can make spur of the moment decisions, but especially one like this where it's literally where my life is going to be molded and like where I'm going to go from here. Like it takes a lot of time and it should take a lot of time. So it was definitely necessary.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about the military school.
I was just going to say, you can't just, I don't know if we're going to get into it.
So yeah, it's called Culver Military Academy. I actually, it just tells you the impact that grassroots basketball had on me. One of the kids on my team, Trey Galloway, he's a hooper at Indiana now. His dad was one of the coaches on my team. And me and him were super tight. Over the summer, I'd take trips up there. It's called Culver, Indiana. I take trips up there, and at the time, like I was probably like 6th, 7th grade. I didn't really know much of what it was about. Their house was here, and the campus was like here. So as I got like towards the end of 7th grade, my mom and dad, like they like got in contact. His name was Coach Galloway at the time. And he told him about what it was like because he worked in admissions. And like, yeah, this is a high school. Like one of the best in the state, like the best in the country for boarding school, military school, all that. And they were like, okay, like is there like an admissions process, or does it like regular school? You can just go enroll your kid or what? And we went through the whole process. I took a shadow day, and got to shadow one of the kids at the time. His name was Jamario Rule. He showed me everything. There's barracks, like cafeteria, like library on campus. Like it's.
Wait, they started with the barracks?
Yeah, it sits right on a lake, Lake Maxinkuckee. And I was like, yeah, like this is pretty sweet. So went through the whole process. Got in, and it was. First night I was there, it was the biggest, like, wow, like, what did I get myself into moment ever? Because the name of the school was just Culver Academies. But when you get there, you find out it's Culver Military for the boys and then Culver Girls Academy for the girls. Mm. So after practice that day, because you go early for football preseason and stuff, kids move in, I think, like 2 weeks after we had to be there. And they're like, oh, no, like, don't tell the new kids about what tonight is. Like, don't tell them. And I'm like, okay, like, this is kind of like, what are you talking about? And none of the older guys are telling me, get back to the barracks from practice. Everybody's in like full uniform. And I mean like shine shoes, slacks. We called it dress B. It was like a white button down. You had your shoulder boards, your dress A cap, everything was on. Everybody had their rank pins, like, you had sergeant, captain, blah, 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 everything like that. And they're like, why aren't you squaring corners? Why aren't you greeting us? Blah, blah, blah. Why aren't you doing this? So like literally they called it, I don't know if I can say, they called it Hell Night. So, I mean, I walk in the dorm, they're yelling at me, greet me, like, what's my rank? Da, da, da. Not like in a hazing way, but like they're trying to get you to learn like what it's like and how you have to be to earn your rank, like within the unit. So I was in Battery A, and I mean, you're squaring corners, so you couldn't just walk out of your room. Like you had to open the door, pivot every corner, pivot. Like it was until you were outside. And now when you're outside, it was whatever it was. Right. But still, until they called you a new cadet until you passed like boards or whatever it was called. And when you're outside, you had to greet like the regimental commander, regimental adjutant, which was like, that's like your president and your vice president. And you salute them. We had military counselors. My guy's name was Sergeant Plonsky. He was the most chill out of all of them. He was Battery A's favorite because he was like military, but he wasn't going to take it to the extreme. Mm. You know what I mean? So, that first night and that first week was really, really tough because I'm like, wow, they lied to me. I was not expecting this, but I met a lot of, good people up there that helped me with it. And my unit was really dope. Like I still talk to a lot of those guys today. And it was an experience that I'm definitely grateful for. And like the way you're looking at me right now is how people look at me when I tell them about Culver. Yeah. And it's like, it's a cliche, but you really don't understand Culver unless you went to Culver and like experienced that full 4-year ride. Cause that's literally what it is. It's you're going to have good days, bad days, but you just got to stay consistent and just keep going with it.
So you were prepared for the Iowa football program before you knew about the Iowa football program.
Yeah, it was. I say it all the time, like you got dudes that come in college that are homesick and not knowing what to do with their time. But like I never had time to be homesick like from 13, 14 years old because I was like having to wake up like every day, 8 points of PI, make your bed, shine your shoes. Wardrobes had to be neat and orderly. Trash cans emptied, windows shined, like all that every day.
So you lived there for 4 years?
Yeah.
How often did you get to see your family?
So this just goes to show you like how special like and why our relationship is so good with my parents. They were there every weekend. They never missed a basketball game, football game. Like they never missed anything. So, but when it came time for AAU, it got difficult because when you're a first year, they don't want you like leaving on the weekends because they want you to stay there and like experience everything and get acclimated as quick as you can. But I'm like, I'm still chasing, like, I'm trying to get offers. I'm trying to get college paid for. So we're going to have to figure something out. But, Sergeant Plonsky was super cool. And, I always made sure to, show respect to the guys that worked in the office that, the head guys of the school worked in. So, they were pretty lenient with me, but I just had to always make sure that when I left, everything was orderly, like there was nothing out of place. You just build up trust that way. And, fortunately, it worked out. They were able to give me some more leeway than other students on campus. And, I just keep trying to repay them every day.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
That's wild.
What do most of the graduates from there do right after?
So we have a lot of guys and girls that ultimately go into like our ROTC stuff, but I know we're a big lacrosse and hockey school, so we have a lot of athletes go pursue careers in that. We've had my class of basketball that I came in with. We had Ethan Britton-Watts. He's at Boston. Or he was at Boston. Now he's at Boston College now. Or not Boston College, Ball State, I'm sorry. Nick Hittle, he's at Southern Indiana. Like I said, Trey Galloway's at University of Indiana. Ethan Gave, he was at Dickinson. I'm pretty sure he's still there now. So we kind of turned the tide because at first people didn't really care about basketball and football, but, we went in there and we turned it up a little bit. So it's, but yeah, it's great lineage of people that have been there and came through there. So it's special.
Wow. How about on the football team? Was there any other guys that went and played?
Yeah, football team, you had me, obviously. Then my quarterback, Max Miller, he went on to play at, he went to another like boarding school out in Virginia. And then he ended up at Wake Forest for a couple seasons. Ryan Tompos, he played at Butler for like 2 or 3 years, I think. And now I have another teammate, Jackson Mole. He's at Wake Forest. He's a DB out there. So he's starting to get on the field a little bit. So it's, Coach Dorrell, that's my high school coach's name. He's huge on faith, huge on belief, and he's got those dudes out there playing really hard. So it's looking good for him for sure.
Was it a big school?
825 kids when I was there. I think it's expanded since I left.
You're talking all 4 grades, boys and girls, right?
All 4 grades. I think they might be up to 1,000 now. But yeah, it's a close community. Everybody knows everybody. Easy to make friends, build connections, relationships, all that stuff.
Jeez. In the future, let's say you have kids, would you send your kids there?
I would definitely consider it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely consider it. I think it's tough because obviously you want to see your kids every day and like be a part of what they're doing. But, if they have half the experience I had, then I know it'll be a good decision, so.
Did you feel like coming from that experience and then coming to Iowa, there wasn't that like big culture shock of like, oh no, I'm in college now and all of those types of things, different like time requirements?
Yeah, I think so because a lot of kids, ironically, that leave Culver, they struggle with the no, like a lot of times. Because at Culver, I would say like every morning or like every week, I knew how each day was going to go. Like I was going to wake up, breakfast. We had block schedules. So 4 was like hour 25-minute classes or whatever it was. I knew every day how I was going to go. But I'm like, this makes it easier to like I know how to put together a schedule. Being there, like we had like communications departments, like we had different, like when you moved up in rank, you had to sit down in front of people and talk to them and explain why you deserved like a different position or a higher position. So like learning how to talk to people and build connections and try to go out and get what you want was like one of the biggest lessons I took away from that. And coming into college, like you're with however many new people, like, yeah, you might have a couple people, like you've got your football team, but you're only with them for so long every day. You know what I mean? Like you say, I go to class, be with 30, 40 other kids, 200, 300 if you're in the lecture, and like let your opinion and voice be heard. So it definitely, a lot of those skills helped me out in coming into college.
Well, I heard BA was late to his first ever team meeting. Can you tell us about that at all?
I don't exactly remember that, but knowing BA, probably. But at the same time, he's also matured a lot. And he's one of those stories that you hear about of guys that it took a little bit longer to figure out. And I was actually his official visit host,
really?
Brian. So
that's pretty cool.
I know, his recruiting. I know all about that stuff, and I'm just glad to see where he's at now.
Yeah, he was super open to talking about like that journey too, which is kind of why I brought it up. I was talking had Tyler Ellsbury in here just a little bit ago, and we were just talking about how cool it is that you guys are all one cohesive team, all going for the exact same thing, exact same goal and mission, but so many different backgrounds and so many different like journeys to get to the point that you are now. And to look at somebody, right, like Brian, that's like super open about the fact of, I walked in and I was late to my first ever meeting. Like took me a while to, he shared that on the podcast with us just last week. And then to hear like your story, you come in, you're like, oh, I'm already ready for this. Like I've been doing this since I was 14. It's just really cool to see just how many different personalities and backgrounds all mold together on a team.
No, it's cool. It's definitely, it's something that I appreciate about sports and like why I love being involved in sports, because like you said, people come from everywhere. Like Culver had representatives from 43 states and like 38 countries.
Wow.
So it's like literally people coming from everywhere. You know what I mean? And coming into football, like I don't know the exact state breakdown of who's from where, but like still you got people coming from being the number one option on all their high school teams, some coming from different college teams. And, the moment you step foot on campus, you're all marching toward the same goal, marching to the same beat. So it's, it's cool hearing stories, especially like Brian, like going from missing your first team meeting to he's got like 4 or 5 sacks, in this season already, his first season really taking a lot of reps. So I'm proud of him, proud of any guy who can, come through Iowa and, make it look easy and do it the right way.
He said he was hopeful that he can tell young guys his story to be like, don't beat me my first couple years.
Absolutely.
He's like, the Hawkeye championship. He's like, I'd see my name up there in the red. He's like, just don't do that.
Yeah, you never want to be that guy. You never want to be that
but
guy.
It was cool just to hear him like say that, but then also like have the maturity of like, I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
And he made it clear that like y'all get together. And that YA wins like everything you guys do together. Whether it's like weed bowling or anything like that.
YA he's one of the most special guys like I've ever been around. Because like when I say hatred, like he had a genuine and passionate hatred for me and Jay. Like back in 2020, back in the dorms. Now I will say me and Jay weren't perfect. We were obviously we knew each other. So compared to the relationships of some of the other recruits we came in with, the dynamic was a little bit different. So when we were around other people, we were obviously more comfortable with one another, like laughing, joking, all kinds of stuff. And Y wasn't like that when he got up there. Like he was like strictly focused on like football, like not doing anything else. So I will say me and him obviously weren't, we weren't the most understanding at the time because we were like, okay, maybe he's just shy, like not trying to come out of his shell yet, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, me over these last 3.5, 4 years, me and Y's relationship has really grown and taken off. And, that's a guy now that I can go to talk about anything. We can go watch film, get on the board. Like he's always there to answer questions when I need it. All that type of stuff. It's a good relationship to have.
That's funny.
Yeah. I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I can't believe, like I'll be having a conversation with him and in my head I'm like, wow, I can't believe we used to be here and now we're here. But I'm definitely fortunate because that's a good guy to have on your side.
Yeah.
For sure.
Brian was very sure that YA is a cheater. He's got fake dice. He's got all
cards
kinds
up his sleeves.
Yeah. He was convinced.
Well, I mean, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And I think that stems honestly from Coach Bell. Whether it's like watching film or anything like that, coaches are always talking about picking up information. So like pre-snap, looking at the guy's eyes, looking at his stance, looking at the down and distance, everything like that. We even took it as far. Sometimes we play a game in the D-line room, like up on the big board, everybody in there. It's called GeoGuessr. And the way it works is it's an app. I think you can play it on your phone, honestly. And it's like it generates a random location. And you can it's one spot. You can't move from it, but you can look all around. It's got 360 vision or whatever you want to call it.
From the camera of your phone?
Yeah. So you just take it on your phone. You hit generate a place. And it'll say, for example, it does Kinnick Stadium, but it won't say Kinnick Stadium. You'll have to look around. Okay, this is Melrose Avenue. Okay, this is a Tiger Hawk symbol.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is the Children's Hospital. Okay, that must be Kinnick Stadium. And then when you type your answer, it'll be you were 1 kilometer away, or if you're totally wrong, 10,000 kilometers away, and it'll tell you what it actually was. So we have some good times doing that. But
this is why I always win.
He guesses pretty close. He guesses pretty close for sure. I don't know if you can cheat at that game, but he does pretty darn good when we do it.
That's so good. I was just thinking too, this is so random, but maybe the reason that you like Crocs so much is because you don't have to shine those in the morning.
Potentially.
That could be it.
It's easy. Just get in, go. Yep. The hardest part of my morning is deciding which ones I want to wear to the facility.
Now that's a life. That's a life that people want to live.
That's the hardest part. But after I figure that out, I'm good to go for the day.
That's so great. What other hobbies do you have outside of competing?
And Crocs.
I play the game a little bit. I'm a sports gamer. I'm not big into Call of Duty. I have stints where I'm locked in on Fortnite, but it'll be a week or two at a time, and then it's back to 2K or Madden or college football now.
What system do you play on?
Xbox.
Okay.
Xbox all the way. The only reason people say PlayStation is better is because of the name. That's all it is. I love MLB. The show is a big pastime. I can play. I do the my career for it or whatever, and the games just go by quick like that, and I like that. So I can play 30, 40 games in 20 minutes. You know what I mean? And just keep going like that. I love my dog. His name's Kobe. He turns 2 in January.
Oh, so puppy.
Yeah. Whenever I'm not doing anything, he's sitting right by me, whether he's laying under the bed, running back and forth from his cage, jumping on my bed. He's always with me. And then
what kind of puppy is he?
He's a Cane Corso. So he's a big puppy. He's 115 pounds.
What?
Yeah. So
I don't know if I'm familiar with that breed, but I'm already scared.
You ever seen he looks like he's a Mastiff and a boxer mixed.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's funny because obviously I don't know if you know Jay has the little dachshund. So they're they're buddies. They run around the house together. My dog's up here, Jay's dog's on the floor. But yeah, they're funny. They're super because when I got him at 8 weeks, so I think Romeo's Jay's dog. I think he got him, or he was 1, maybe a little older than 1 when I brought mine home. And they're literally both the same size. But then a month later, my dog's stretched out and Romeo's still. But, they play together still. Kobe normally just stands there and lets Romeo jump up and bark at him, bite at him and stuff. But yeah, between that and gaming and, football, I don't really like to do too much. School, yes. But fifth year stuff is a little more laid back. But my one in-person class, sports officiating rules and theories. So it's pretty simple. We just go over special topics, module on a certain sport, and then have a little exam on it at the end. So we did baseball first. Now we're on football. So kind of worried for that one. But,
Yeah.
Have you learned any new rules?
You'd be surprised. Some of the stuff you hear about in baseball rules, I'm wow. I would never thought about that. And same thing with football.
The fair catch kick. Do you know about that?
We haven't went over it yet. I think he skipped, I think he skipped that one for a reason because he knew me and Luke would get kind of upset. But
that's a unique one.
We actually, I don't know. It was on Twitter. You guys might have saw it, but I think it was a high school football game. And they lined up to punt, and the kid like threw it up in the air like 40 yards downfield, and they ended up catching it, and it was a first down.
Right.
So I learned that you could do that, and then.
Have you seen the clip?
I haven't.
So it's crazy. They line up in punt formation. They snap it. It looks regular. Gunner's running down the field. The punter like waits a second and like underhand, like you ever played jackpot when you were a kid, and just underhand throws it up.
Super high, so it looks like a punt. Yeah.
Returner's back there just looking like he doesn't know what to do. So then the gunner runs down, catches it, and the refs are like, it's a first down. It was like a successful fake.
Huh. Makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. And then I also learned that, I don't know if it's just kickoff. I mean, not just kickoff, field goal in high school or what. But say it's like 4th and 3 and you're at your own like 30-yard line. If you line up in field goal formation and kick it, it's obviously going to be short. But wherever the ball stops, that's where the other team like starts their possession.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, I didn't know that either. He like showed us videos in class, and I'm like,
interesting.
If I'm a coach, I'm definitely gonna use that. You know, so yeah, I'm learning. I'm even learning still. It's cool. I'm learning stuff. It's cool. I mean, me and Luke, we enjoy taking it together. I mean, we look at each other like, wow, like, did you know that? I didn't know that. Like when we hear stuff, so it's cool.
Yeah. What did you graduate with?
I graduated the major in sports studies, and I double minored in communications and media management.
Okay. Yeah. What do you want to do with that eventually?
So, like I said, I love podcasts. Like Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco. That's my favorite like podcast to listen to, or YouTube show, whatever you want to call it. Nightcap. I love the unfilteredness and like how they can just be themselves. You know what I mean? I love watching First Take, Undisputed back when it was a thing. You know, the Pat McAfee show, like all that stuff. I don't know. It was just, I think it really kicked in college kind of a couple years ago. I don't know why or what made me do it. It just, once I started watching one, I just couldn't get away from it. So after I'm done playing, like I kind of want to get into that field, whether it's like the on-air part.
I was just going to say, like, is this a trial run right now?
I mean, it could be. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's this type of stuff or journalism, like I want to be, you know, involved in sports somehow and, you know, talking about it, sharing my opinion. So, you know, obviously I hope it waits a few more years.
Oh yeah. This is when you retire.
You know, we'll see what happens.
Okay. I think Brian wants to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
I'm not surprised because me and BA have animated conversations all the time about NBA and
I was gonna say you should start a podcast. I'd listen to that.
Yeah, I've had my notions, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get it done. So we'll see if I can make some shake.
You might get yourselves in trouble though, going back and forth.
Yeah, we definitely have to have a conversation beforehand about, you know, because we're obviously still athletes like currently. So you know, some stuff we might want to talk about, we might want to just wait till we're 40, 50 and, you know, get behind the camera again and talk about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I like that idea.
BADC. I'm trying to come up with names because it's ABCD, which is wild.
Wow.
You could just be that.
I didn't think about that.
Always thinking, man.
ABCD. That'd be good. I like that. I like that. I like that.
There's a chance.
That's pretty good. Good job. Marketing.
Yeah, right on. Dude.
Very good. Do you envision yourself after, like I said, with of course the NFL being done when you're like 58, retire at that point? Do you envision yourself moving home? Do you want to stay close to your family?
I really haven't put too much thought into that yet. I wouldn't mind just because, you know, Fort Wayne has been super special to me and like, you know, all the resources that I got from there helped me get to where I am today. But I love like Indianapolis is the big city in Indiana. And that's where my dad's from. So I have a lot of family up that way still too. But I think if I were to move like back home, like when my career and everything is over, it'd it'd probably be like Indianapolis area, which is still like hour 45, 2 hours away from home. And, you know, hopefully I can, you know, be blessed enough to be in a position where I can have my parents like there with me or like close to the vicinity.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know they aren't too worried about that right now. They just want me to, you know, keep following the plan God has for me. And, you know, wherever I end up, that's where I end up.
Yeah. That's awesome. You've mentioned faith just a couple of times throughout the podcast. Does that play a role in your journey coming to Iowa and just your life in general?
Yeah, it definitely does. It really started with my grandma, who unfortunately she lost her life about a month ago. So that's really growing up, me and my sister, I mean, every Sunday, Bible study, you know, choir practice, like my grandma had us in the church all the time. I will be honest and say that since I got to college, due to like time requirements and stuff, it's been a little more difficult to always make sure. But you know, ever since she passed away, it's been it kind of opened my eyes a little bit more. You know, going to her service and, you know, hearing how impactful like she was to other people because of like how she chose to live her life through faith and everything like that was crazy. Like I heard stories about my grandmother I never knew about, you know what I mean? So, you know, every night I try to pray and, you know, pray for my family, obviously, because it's my mom and, you know, my aunt, that's their mom. So they're still going through it like crazy. And, you know, my grandma's picture sits right next to my bed. So every night, like I sit down next to her, talk to her, pray. And, you know, it's definitely, you know, you see blessings come into your life and you never really think about it. But then it's like, wow, like I got people that have prayed for me, still praying for me everywhere. And, you know, it just makes you want to do better and be better.
That's really beautiful. And like you said, chills when you said, when you were at her service, just how many lives that she impacted. Yeah. And she probably didn't even realize it, just in like the way that she was living. And how cool is that you have the pedestal that you do with football and, you know, just being an athlete and being out in front of people, that you can do the same thing and impacting people. So that's really amazing. Yeah. Very, very cool. Obviously, you can tell family is an extremely important part of your life, which is really special.
Yeah, it's something I don't take lightly, just because I know if I don't have anybody, like I know I have them. And I'm not saying like I always agree with stuff my family says or I'm always happy with them. Like my dad will tell you, we butt heads more than anybody. like any enemy that I've made, anybody that like I might disagree with in class or whatever, like me and my dad, we can go at each other. But an hour later, next day, whatever it might be, what's up, bro? Like, how's your day at work? Like, how was practice? So that we go back and forth like 2 or 3 minutes. It might not always be long, but you know, I know he's always thinking about me. Like he loves me and my sister so much. Like he'll do anything, whether we're 100% in the wrong, like he's still got our back regardless. Yeah. So just little stuff like that, you know, just makes me appreciate, you know, all the stuff that they do for me. And then, you know, like I said about my grandma, like hearing, you know, how she literally talked about me and my sister to everybody and how proud she was of us, of everything we did. It just opens your eyes and it's like puts things into perspective. Like, wow, like you really got it good when your family is, you know, right there in your corner no matter what. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
You know, I'm trying not to tear up, man.
Relax.
That's nice. That's beautiful.
No, it's really cool too. Just in the conversations we've got to have with guys on here and women that we've had like from the basketball team and such, just as parents ourselves of like young kids, just to hear about like your guys' upbringing, right? Like it's all so different and so dynamic, but got you to the place that you are. And it seems like pretty much everybody, it's been like these amazing families that try to come to every game or are at every game, just always behind them and loving them unconditionally. So it's just really cool to hear another story like that. So
yeah, I mean, that's what it starts with, you know, like I said, in high school, my parents never missed a football game, basketball game. It's been the same way in college. I think the only game that they didn't come to was Minnesota in 2022, and that's because it was like 4 degrees outside, and my dad was like, "Yeah, we're not doing that."
I don't blame him.
I told him I didn't blame him at all. You know what I mean? But you know, everything else, every recital, even going back to middle school and elementary school, you had your like presidential honor roll, like nights at the high school or whatever when you were in middle school and stuff. Like they were there front row for all of it. So and the least I can do is, give them my all and whatever it is I do.
Yeah. That's really cool. Well, Deontay, thank you so much. I really appreciate just all of your time and you coming in today and sharing your story is really, really cool to hear.
Of course. I appreciate you guys having me out.
Absolutely. Yeah, we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season, of course. And everything beyond as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Go Hawks.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving Eastern Iowa.
As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
Hey, Hawk fans, looking for the perfect spot to fuel up before or celebrate after a Hawkeye win? Look no further than Marquee Pizzeria, located in the vibrant Iowa River Landing.
Their wood-fired pizzas have truly changed the pizza game.
Whether you're cheering on the Hawkeyes or just searching for a delicious meal, Marquee Pizzeria is the place to be. Swing by and experience the best pizza in Iowa. Go Hawks.
When it comes to keeping our home comfortable, we trust only the best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating. Whether it's fixing a leaky sink, keeping the house cool, or making sure the furnace runs smoothly in winter, Loudon Plumbing and Heating is our go-to. For reliable service, trust the corridor's best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating.
Looking to make a splash online in Eastern Iowa? Digital Boost is your local go-to digital marketing agency. They help local businesses connect with their ideal customers online.
Digital Boost has a diverse client base, ranging from small businesses to industry leaders, including well-known brands like DNR Pest Control and Advanced Millwork.
Visit their website at www.digitalboostia.com to learn more or contact them for a free in-person consultation. So, Matt, the Hawkeyes are headed to California.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Some good memories out there, some bad.
Yeah. They play in the Rose Bowl, right? Is that them? Or is that USC?
UCLA.
I don't like the way you said that. It didn't sound very confident.
I thought you meant like, we've played at the Rose Bowl. I was like, yes. But then you were like, they, meaning UCLA. Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Anyway, should be fun. Is it a weird game time? What is the game time?
It's going to be 8 o'clock Central. I think it's 9 o'clock Eastern. So it's a little bit later. Obviously, we just played 6:30, but.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're going to preview this game. And this preview is brought to you, of course, by Big Grove Brewery, who is the official craft brewery of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Did you know that, Matt? You can get an Easy Eddie in Kinnick Stadium.
That's cool.
It is actually pretty cool. And if you don't make it to the game, which I'm assuming a lot of us aren't going to make it to the game this coming Saturday. They play. Hold on. Everybody stop. Everybody stop what you're doing. Is it Saturday? No, it's Friday, Matt.
It's Friday night.
The game is on Friday. Did you even know that until I said it?
I remember seeing it, yes.
Whatever. You're so smart.
Jerry said so.
Yeah. Friday night game. So if you are not making it to the Iowa game in California on Friday night, then you got to go to Big Grove Brewery. You can go to Solon, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, or Des Moines. It's the official watch headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes as well. So you got to check it out. They have the best food ever on game day. What do you know about UCLA, Matt?
They're the Bruins, but you're going to tell me a lot, so go ahead.
I don't actually have that much. But if you didn't know, their coach actually let everybody know in the Big Ten that they are located in California.
Shots fired.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
What did they say? Like, oh, what does the Big Ten Conference like need to know about UCLA? And he's like, well, or in California, if you didn't know. Just like,
you know what UCLA stands for?
University of California, Los Angeles. Is that right? Nice. See how I do that? Smarter than you. All right. Well, their colors, Matt, are blue and yellow. And do you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Blue.
Why are they?
Oh my gosh. That scared me. Don't do that. Somebody with headphones was just like, can you not? So blue is to symbolize the ocean and local wildflowers. Beautiful. And it's kind of gone back and forth between two different blues. So I think it used to be more of like a royal blue, and now it's more of like a light blue. Is that right? Or is it flip-flopped? That's right. Thank you for confirming. And then yellow to reflect the Golden State and the California poppy and sunsets. Kind of nice.
I was thinking sand, but probably along the same thing.
Yeah, I really like that. It has that meaning though. That's nice. Actually, you know, the Hawkeyes, our state bird is black and yellow. So there you go. Just a little tidbit to throw in there. So they are the Bruins, but back in 1917, they actually didn't have a specific like mascot or a specific team name. And so they had this dog named Rags. And from the pictures,
That's a good dog name.
Isn't it cute? It's actually really, we should change TJ's name to Rags. Actually, it's better too. Anyway, it was a stray dog that was found by some gardener on campus. And yeah, everybody just loved Rags. And I think they might have some kind of like ode to him on campus. But anyway, then in 1924, they decided to become the Grizzlies. So then a little wrench got thrown in the system in 1926 because they got put into the Mountain West Conference and Montana was already the Grizzlies. So they're like, well, we can't be the Grizzlies and Montana has been the Grizzlies longer than we have. So we just got to let them have that. So they went through this long list of things of like what they could possibly be. And it was like, what?
That's the dumbest way to settle that. Go win. Go play the game and like whoever wins is the Grizzlies.
That's fun.
Stupid.
They totally should. But then you'd have to play in like every sport.
Well, no, it's like, okay, it's football. Just pick the first one of the year.
Interesting thought. Anyway, so they considered like a ton of different things. And it said everything between Buccaneers, Gorillas, and etc.
The UCLA Gorillas. UCLA Bucks.
I know. But I guess there was a long list that was considered. By the way, this is from the UCLA alumni official website. So UC Berkeley was already using the Bruins, but they also went by the Bears. And so they voted and they said, you know what, it's fine. We'll give up Bruins and give it to UCLA. And so that's how UCLA became the Bruins.
So UCLA beat down UC Berkeley to get Bruins.
I guess. Also, who voted? That's what I want to know. Who came up with that? Guys, what should we do here? Like, it's just kind of an interesting thought. How many people are on campus to do that? But then in 1961, they really like leaned into having their mascot be, it's Joe Bruin. Yep. And they call him like Smiley Joe. And then they also have another mascot. They have two. And the other one is Josephine Bruin. Yep. And so originally, like in the 60s, they were, of course, like real bears that they would have at the stadium because you just have to do the real bear thing. But Josephine was a Himalayan bear and she lived, this is what it said, Josephine lived in the rally committee's the rally committee chair's backyard until she grew too big and was moved to the San Diego Zoo.
So it was a tame bear. It was a city bear.
I guess.
What's she know about the wilderness?
Yeah, I know, but then they put her in the zoo because she got too big. Imagine that. You should have a bear living in your backyard. But yeah. So they had real bears and then they're like, okay, we got to go away from that. So then I guess in like the mid to late 60s, then they had like the full
Paper mache.
mascot. No, they didn't have paper mache from what I read. Then they started having like the mascots that you know today. But the current like design of the mascots was in 1996. And it's been the same ever since.
That's pretty long.
That actually is a really long time to have the same mascot. There you go. Told you I didn't have like a whole lot. It was kind of like PC. You know, like, oh, back in 26, it was this. And then all of a sudden we're in the 60s.
Oh, sure.
And I was like, what the heck? But I couldn't find anything else. So
I feel like they fit well in Washington, fit well in the Big Ten because their logos are just letters.
Oh, yeah. You love to point that out.
So many Big Ten teams are just letters for their logo on the helmet.
Yeah.
Even USC.
Yeah.
Washington State is a Cougar, but it's a WSU.
Oh, Matt. The more you know.
Super smart.
Okay. You don't get to say that about yourself. It doesn't work that way.
No, it's verbatim from
Sure.
somebody who was just in the studio.
Okay. So tell me more about UCLA on the field.
So they're 3-5, started off 1-5. They had a stretch there over the course of 4 games. I think they played Indiana, Oregon, and Penn State, which they were relatively close considering, but I mean, those are some gauntlets.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a gauntlet of teams. Indiana looks really good right now.
Mhm.
They're scary. It'd be really interesting if the East and West, like, was the East and West of Ohio State, Penn State, and then Indiana's thrown in there, kind of crazy. But anyway, so 3-5, back-to-back road wins. Now, being in UCLA, they won at Rutgers. That's a long trip.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious if they stayed multiple days, like they just went up on a Tuesday and then stayed there the whole time just to get acclimated. And then just won at Nebraska, which they were up 20, I believe it was 27-7 in that game. And then Nebraska kind of came back, made it 27-20.
So I was sitting in the press box waiting for the game to start. And they're like, I'm on the 4th floor where there's all the like press guys and everything, you know, like writers and et cetera. And they have TVs up there. So everybody like watches the games before. And there was guys standing behind me. And one of them, some guy walked up to a group of guys and like, oh, what are you guys up to? And they're like, oh, you know, just watching Nebraska blow this game. It's like, you can say that like every week.
Yikes.
I'm just saying. I was like, you could have said that 2 weeks ago. It would have been pretty accurate.
Yikes.
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
You're not wrong. So
Nebraska kind of came back.
They're not so Nebraska kind of came back, but UCLA is not a great team. Although they did find some footing now the last couple of weeks, like I said. Quarterback's going to run a lot. Mm-hmm. He honestly has some pretty good pocket presence to him. But 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So he's going to turn the ball over. Last week I said, we're going to get 1 and we got 2. We're going to get 1 this week. It's just a matter of when. So like I said, 10 touchdowns, 9 picks. They don't really want to run the football. They've got their leading rusher only has like 300 yards or something like that. And they've got 3 or 4 different guys that they rotate through. Actually, one of the running backs is a transfer from Wisconsin. Oh. So he kind of understands Big Ten football, but he's not the starter. He does get a decent amount of carries, but he's not the starter. And as far as receiving the ball, their top pass catcher, you could say, is a tight end. And their second top pass catcher is the running back. And then the wide receivers trickle in. So they got a decent tight end, but running back, like you got some screens and stuff, but otherwise it's a lot of dump down. So it's not like they're driving the ball down the field a ton. They did a little bit against Nebraska, but that's not their MO. You know, it's going to be quick game. It's going to be stuff that the quarterback can roll out and run because he's got 50 carries on the year. I think their leading rusher in terms of rushing attempts has like 73, and then he's got 50. So it's one of those things where we just have to make sure that we're keeping track of where the quarterback is. You know, I mean, he's a runner to run as opposed to a runner to pass from what I gather. And what I mean by that is, okay, when he breaks the pocket, is he keeping his eyes downfield the whole time? Or is he more or less, okay, now I'm running, tucking the ball, you know, and just getting what I can get? He's more so the latter. Although, again, back-to-back wins is really good for them. Defensively, they run a 4-3, so it's going to be more consistent on what we're used to seeing. Didn't blitz a ton the last couple of weeks. They will every now and then, but it's not like their MO to continue blitz. And they do like to press their corners every now and then. They're not as physical as some of the ones we've seen, like Ohio State, you know, like those guys. Those guys got after us. They're pretty physical on the outside. They're not as physical. And honestly, I'm not even too worried about what they're doing, if I'm being honest. Like when we're buttoned up on defense and we got all of our guys back, it was nice to have Sebastian Castro back. Cone Entringer was back. Like when those pieces are back and healthy, we just play defense. It's not like we have to blitz a ton, although we came after Wisconsin a little bit. So we might do something like that. And as for like defensively for them, as long as we continue to put in the modern day triple option, like the point of the option is to make people wrong. It's to make the defensive end wrong. You crash, I pull. You stay out, I give it, right? And with what I believe to be one of the Heisman candidates at running back, you should probably crash every time. Well, then Sullivan's proven that he's good with his legs, right? So now I run out. Well, now these linebackers got to decide, am I going to come in and tackle, or am I going to stay out and take the bubble? Or do I have to hope that my middle linebacker didn't flow too hard to the run on Caleb Johnson and can still come back and make the play, or Sullivan's going to be one-on-one with the safety? Like the point of it is making people wrong. If you do this, I do this, and I win. Like that's the main point of incorporating the modern day triple option. So along with that, and what we've already seen Lester do in limited time knowing that Sullivan, now he might have had it in his back pocket of like, all right, if we go with Sullivan, we're going to have these and whatever. And then they just didn't implement them until later. But knowing that that's there, what does another full week look like? And pregame last time, or the game day reel that went out against Wisconsin, I talked about what other iterations of the option are going to be there. I really do think he's watching our reels.
Tim.
What other iterations, are out there? I wouldn't be surprised if there's another little wrinkle that comes back, but we're putting a guy in motion pre-snap and then we're running it. Like that's already what we do. We do a lot of that kind of stuff where guys are going across and eye candy pre-snap just to kind of see what happens. The more that we do that, the more we can really settle into what we do. I do think Sullivan gives us a little extra with his legs. Obviously we hope K McNamara gets back healthy and is able to do what he needs to do. Sullivan just adds a little bit different with that aspect of his legs. So if that continues to be the MO going forward, modern day triple option, keep doing that. And then you can keep doing the boots and the rollouts and your pro style stuff. You don't have to shift away, which is nice. You don't have to rethink the whole thing. You can just add 1 or 2 wrinkles off of what you already do.
So if Coach Lester is watching, let's just say he is. We know you are. I would really love to see the wide receiver throw. What is that called? What do you call that?
You're talking a double pass?
Yeah, double pass. I'd love to see a double pass. Just think they're exciting, kind of funny. It's funny to see someone else throw the ball.
It is.
Just going to put that out there just in case.
You talking like Weegan on a jet sweep and then he throws it? Or are you talking like a true double pass? Or are you talking like Tavon 2015
that
reverse into a pass?
Yeah, that one. Just something a little fun. Throw something in there.
I don't know if I've ever been had that much fun on a play that I didn't score.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No. Just cool. Keep doing what we do.
Well, it's going to be, let's see, November. What's the date? Early November. What?
It'll be the 8th.
The 8th.
Friday.
Early November. And they're going to be playing in sunny and 75 conditions.
How nice.
Actually, well, that's like during the day. It'll be like 50.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No, it's not.
And probably 50 in California feels vastly different from 50
probably
here
right.
in Iowa. So there you go. Should be a good game. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this kind of starts leading into, I think we got another bye week coming up here. Get some momentum. I'm going to call this the second season. The first season was the first games, and then you had your bye week, and then it's a second season, then a bye week, and then third season. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that we can continue this momentum. I mean, between 2 games of Sullivan, 37 and 42 points. Let's continue to keep this train rolling. Offense looking good, and defense continues to do what we expect it to.
Yeah. And honestly, it just looks like they're a team that's having fun right now. And
that's a scary team.
And that's what really matters, Matt.
It does, because when you have fun, you play harder.
I know.
Because you don't see it as work.
All right. Well, there is just one more home game left. So if you're trying to make it to that game, make sure you're going to biggrove.com/Hawkeyes because they're giving away home football season tickets. They have been all season long, but there's only one game left. So if you're trying to get there, go to biggrove.com/Hawkeyes and get entered to win some tickets to that Nebraska game. But before that, it's UCLA. Okay. I just had to throw that little plug in there.
One at a time.
One at a time.
1-0 this week.
That's right. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you are subscribing to the Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. If you're watching on the Estella's channel, thank you so much for watching. But we would love you to go over to the official Talkin Hawks YouTube channel and make sure you hit subscribe. And that just helps us a lot. A lot. And we would appreciate it. Leave a comment. Make sure you're liking the video. Follow us on social media.
Full interview is also over on the other channel.
This is true. Thank you, Matt. The full interview with Deontay Craig is going to be over on the Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. Go subscribe, check it out, and we'll be back next week. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.